Hello, YouTube friends. This is Recoverin Yankee. Today is the 6th of 4th month, and tonight, of course, at sundown is Passover. I'm calling it the Passover of the written Torah of Moses. I'm not speaking to the rabbinic Jewish Passover. That's a different Passover altogether. But I wanted to show you, since today's a Sabbath, and of course that's the seventh day Sabbath. I wanted to show you what I do almost every Sabbath, and what I've been doing almost every Sabbath since 1998. Okay? Of course, as computer technology has advanced, my job with what I'm about to show you has advanced. This is the work I'm doing. It's a work of the heart, and it's a work of the scriptures. So, again, this is not any kind of preaching or anything like that. I'm just showing you how I operate. Since 1998, I've been translating the entire Old Testament, also known as the Tanakh. I've been translating it from modern Hebrew into regular English. In 2005, a book came out by an author named Jeff Benner, and he has a pretty interesting paleo dictionary. But prior to 2005, these are the books that I was using, and the ones that I still use today for my translations. So hold on. Primary book that I was using is the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. Okay? As you can see, this book is very old. I got it in, I think, 1990-ish, 91. I was going to a church in Pennsylvania, and the pastor kept making statements that I couldn't verify, so I went and got this book from a Christian bookstore, and man, this is the best book I've ever had. Okay, as you can see, it's very old. The pages are all starting to rip. I had to buy a new one. It's right there, my new Strong's. So these are some of the books that I use in my translations. This is Jeff Benner's book. It's called The Ancient Paleo, and you can see it's been so used it's fallen apart also. I got the binding taped here and everything. This book came out in 2005. It was a gift from above, if you will. This is the Ancient Paleo Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible, and it discusses all the ancient Paleo letters, what they mean, and everything. And this, like I said, this book is a gift from above. I also use, this is some books that you can buy on Amazon. Basics of Hebrew by Gary Practico and Miles Vander. This is a workbook. This is the book for Hebrew grammar by the same author. These guys are experts in Hebrew. Okay. And I have these cards, which you take one out and it's a flashcard. As you can see, there's a lot of cards in here, right? Thousands of cards. There's 8,500 words in the Hebrew language, the biblical Hebrew language. Obviously, modern Hebrew is much more advanced than biblical Hebrew. But as you can see, you pull one card out, and this is what's on the card. It says Canaan, and then apparently it shows up in the scriptures, and it has this is what the Hebrew word is, Canaan. Okay, so now you learn how to spell each word. That's what you have with this. This is flashcards, and this helps me to remember and understand and learn all the key words. Now, of course, I've been using this for years. These are relatively new. These flashcards, and these books are relatively new as well. Here's another book that I use for helping me to translate biblical Hebrew. This is a fantastic book called Biblical Hebrew Step by Step, 2nd edition, Menachem Mansour. And this teaches you about Hebrew grammar from the Bible perspective. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you my best book from my translations. Hold on. It's Gesenius, Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon to the Old Testament. Excellent, excellent book. And you can't do better than that. These are books. All these books help me to identify what a particular word in the text means. Okay? There's there are 8,500 Hebrew words. Sometimes they have the same exact meaning as another Hebrew word. And sometimes there's a variation in the meaning. So Jusinius, which is probably the top shelf book of all Bible translating books, is it's the best book there is. So I use this a lot. I also have on my bookshelf over there. I don't have enough room on my desk to put all these books. I have Wigram's, which is another top shelf book. I have The Analytical Hebrew by an author named Davison, another top shelf book. And these are all top shelf books I use to compare and contrast word after word after word. So hold on. I also use a Bible on the internet, which has Hebrew. As you can see, it has the Hebrew language. It has the rough pronunciation of that Hebrew word. It has the rough translation of that Hebrew word. And it has the Strong's number. Strong's number is the key number for all these studies. Okay? Now, this is called the Interlinear Scripture Analyzer 3. It's a beta project. It's perfect. They've got newer editions since then, but this one's perfect. Any errors that I can find them with the Concordance, or I can find them with Gesenius, and I can find them with other online Bible tools like this as well. Okay, so now how do I do it? Hold on. This is what I do. Currently I'm working on Messianic Age passages. And I'm talking about the Messianic Age that is probably coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to start. So here's what I do. I copy and paste the text. In this case, it's Amos chapter 2, 4 through 16. I copy and paste the text, as you can see, of Amos 2, 4 through 16. Now, then what I do is as you can see, I highlight some keywords. First, before I go any further, I highlight every keyword on the page. Okay. Then I go through with the Interlinear Scripture Analyzer, this one, and I find all the strong numbers for every single word. Every single word. As you can see, like this is just 2:4. Amos 2:4 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 words in just that verse. So then what I do is I get the Strong's number for each of those words, 3541, 559, 3069, 5921, etc. Then I go through my reference manuals that I just mentioned, and I try to get I list all the definitions of those key words. Now, hold on. When I do this, a lot of times the English translators that are before me have done a pretty good job with some of these words. Most of the words are right on the money. So I don't have to actually translate all of the words because they're the exact word that's in the text. Like where it says transgressions there, okay? Or mislead, right there. When you look up the Hebrew word, that's what it means. It means consume or mislead or palace or whatever, okay? Whatever the word is. So you don't have to translate those words. You only have to translate the words that don't come out exactly like the text says from whatever text you're using. You can even do this with English translations like King James or New International. Unfortunately, those texts do not have all of the original wording. Sometimes they leave words out on purpose because they can't translate them. So I want to show you another tool I use. This is my favorite new Bible version. Hold on. This is called the Chabad Bible. It's a complete Jewish Bible, and it has Hebrew and English in it, okay? And since I'm very good at reading Hebrew now, after all these years, look what you get on one page. You get the English on one side, and you get the Hebrew on the other side. That Hebrew right there is directly from the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, or some people call the Old Testament. I don't like that word, but people call it, okay? Now, if you remember the other tool I showed you, the Interlinear Scripture Analyzer, see what's there too? The Hebrew. I can verify if each of these Hebrew words is accurate, and if it's according to the text by going to the Chabad Bible. See, so I verify back and forth constantly. So then, once I see that the Hebrew word in the Chabad Bible is the same as the Hebrew word in the Interlinear Scripture Analyzer, then I know I'm in the right path. I know I haven't made any mistakes. I use the Strong's number here. I verify that this word says, he says, Amir. Okay. Aleph, Mem, Resh. See that? Aleph, Mem, Resh. Then I know it's Amir. I know it's number 559. So here's what I do with number 559. Let's use a different word. Let's use this one here, transgressions. 6588. Pashoy. Okay? 6588. Hold on. The next thing I do is I go to Strong's Concordance for 6588, which is the word I just said I was going to look up. And the Interlinear Scripture Analyzer says that 6588 means transgressions. Let's see what the Strong's Concordance says it means. A revolt, whether national, moral, or religious, a rebellion, sin, transgression, or trespass. So far they agree with each other, right? Hold on. Okay, you see the word pashoy here? Pei, shin, ayin, yud. Okay? Now watch. What happens when I go to the Chabad Torah, or the Chabad Bible? Here is the same word. Pei, shin, ayin, yud. Okay? Same exact word. So now I know, let's look over here in the text of the English and look. The English translation comes up with transgressions. So here's pashoy again in the Hebrew. Here's transgressions. See, it has the same meaning. And now the Interlinear Bible says transgressions also. So now I'm going to verify it with some more. Hold on. Next I go to Big Boy. This is Gesenius, the best book in the world, hands down. There's 6588. You see it says Pei, Shin, Ayin. Okay, good. With the suffix, it talks about how it has a yod at the end as a suffix. It's plural, as it's Pashim. That's the plural form. It means defection or rebellion. And then it gives you references from other scripture passages that have the same word, okay? And that they mean in Proverbs 28:2, this same pasha word has the meaning defection or rebellion. It's and then it goes through and starts listing different places where the word occurs and what it means, because some places use a slightly different meaning of it, even in a different spelling. Okay, so that's the next step I do. Hold on. Then I go to the Benner book, which is 6588 right there, and that tells me Benner's number for that coincides with 6588 is 2647 November. See that? 2647 November. Then I go to over here in the Benner book. Here's 2647. And I look to November, right? November. 2647 November. I verify that it has the same Strong's number, which is 6594. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I verify that 6588 is right there. If you remember from the online scripture, Interlinear Scripture Analyzer, you remember it is 6588. There it is. 6588 in the Paleo Dictionary. And it says the main keyword is revolution. And it's used in King James as rebellion, sin, trespass, and transgression. And you saw transgression. Okay, and remember from the Chabad Bible, transgression. So all the sources agree that this word actually means transgression. So you have to look up what a transgression is. One of the reasons I like the Benner book is because Benner tells you what each root means. Hebrew is based on root words. Okay, the actual word is revolt. Abstract definition is revolution, a spreading apart. That gives you the verb form, which we're not interested in the verb form in this particular case, because we're interested in the noun form or the adjective form. And it means revolution. It's just a simple word, revolution. It comes out 93 times in the scriptures, and it's strong number 6588. So now I verified that that this word means transgression, so I don't have to translate it. It's already got the right meaning. Now, the deeper meaning of the revolutions was spreading apart, right? What that means is that if you have a group of people, they're together. Now, a revolution means some of the people are separating themselves from the group. They're spreading apart. See how that works? So now, because I see that the word transgressions, which is a key word, it actually means transgressions, so I don't have to worry about translating that word. Okay? Then I'm going to go to here, lies, and I'm going to go to statutes, and I'm going to go to this transgressions. This transgressions right here, if it's the same number, it has the same exact meaning. But there are other Hebrew words that also mean transgression, so it may be a different number altogether. So I have to look it up, and then I have to verify it with these different books. And of course, then once I get all the key numbers verified, all the terms verified, I go down to this section, I fill in all these parentheses with the correct terms of the words that need to be translated. Words that don't need to be translated are things like said, so said, or for. These are words that are not, these are added words by English people so that we can say the sentences yea instead of yes, for again. And there's the Hebrew numbering system, you don't have to go and translate for, it's just going to mean for. Okay? Them, another word, they, which, their, all these words, they, which, their. You see where my cursor is? Them, which, their. Those words don't have to be translated. Okay, yea. Israel doesn't have to be, the word Israel doesn't have to be translated. Judah doesn't have to be translated. But here's an interesting thing that I do with each of those names. Proper names. I put it in there. This is the phonetic way to pronounce that word. Okay? Judah is the English word that's in most texts. Because it's a name, a lot of the books don't want to give you definitions. Strong's does give a definition. Benner does not. So, but the Strong's Concordance gives you the actual phonetic pronunciation of Judah, which is Yahudah. Okay? And so, as you can see, I write it out. Yahudah. So this way, the person who's reading this text that I'm going to eventually produce or get published, they can read the Hebrew name with phonetics and the English spelling of that Hebrew name, which is Judah. For Israel, it's Yisrael. Okay? And as you go on, here's Egypt. Egypt is Mitzrayim. That's Egypt. Okay? Amorites. The pronunciation for phonetics is Emori. And Amorites. Okay? Nazarites. We have Nazir, which is Nazarites. Okay? Etc., etc., all the way through. And every place I see the word Lord, which in most cases is the name Yahweh or Yahuwah, I translate it as YHWH automatically. Now, in some cases where the word Lord is master or Adonai, I translate it as master. Also, occasionally you'll see when I do this, not in this text, but it'll say the Lord of hosts. That is Yahuwah Sibaot, and then it means the master of the army. I just translate it right away. Anytime I see the word God, I immediately go through and I translate it to El or Elohim or Eloheinu, Elohecha, Elohek, Elohechem, etc. There's different forms of the word El. I put in the correct form based on what it says in the Hebrew text. So it's always going to come up with Elohim, which Elohecha, Eloheinu, etc. Hold on. All right, here's the word God or gods. Look what the Hebrew word is equivalent to it right over here. Elohechem. So instead of putting gods in the English text right here, I'm going to put in the English pronunciation of Elohechem. Elohechem. Okay, hold on. I go to this other form that I created online. It's my new online dictionary. And you can see there's Elohechem. There's Elohechem with a K and Elohechem. So in the text there, instead of putting the word God, what I do is I will put this English phonetic pronunciation, Elohechem. Next to it will be the word God or sovereign. I don't like to use the word God, but a lot of English texts have the word God, including the Hebrew Bible has the word God. So I put the Hebrew word there so that the people who are reading it can get an understanding of the Hebrew language, how it sounds, how easy it is to do. And here is also Lord of Hosts on my list. See Lord of Hosts? That's the Strong's number for it. It means the word means army. And here is how you say it in Hebrew. Yahuwah Sibao. And it's the master of the army. Okay. So, that is what I do. Now, of course, the most important part of this is to have the correct translation. It's one thing to get the vocabulary words translated properly. The next thing a person must do is actually come up with a final sentence. So that means you have to go through each of these sentences where you already have the keyword translated, okay, into the whatever the Paleo definition is, or the Jusinius definition, or the Strong's definition. You find out what the exact vocabulary word means. Then I substitute, as you see the substitution section, I substitute the exact definition that I discovered from those various texts into the spot where the parentheses are. So now you have the word being substituted in. Okay? Obviously, I haven't done this yet. This is a brand new one I'm going to start today. But I will substitute the new word in there. Hold on, let me see if I can find one. So now what I do is I take these key words. This is from a different translation I've done. So let's go to verse 1 of chapter 8 in Zechariah. The word jealous is used in the typical English translations. See, jealous? Jealous. But let's see if that's the right word. The actual word means it's a verb. Jealous is not a verb. So I have to turn it into the verb form, which is to be, and the definition is zealous. To be zealous. Okay? That's the definition of the word jealous, number 7065 in verse 2. Now I go down to where I do the substitution in verse 2, and you'll see where it says, see the word zealous there? In the original text, it said jealous. So that exact text is I am zealous. But it should be I am to be zealous, okay? Or to be zealous, right? That's the verb form. So then what I do is once I get all of the definitions of each word into the sentence, like this one is great. I am zealous for Zion with great zealousness, and with magnificent, with great fury, I am zealous, okay? Now, so then what I do is I have to use sentence diagrams like we did when we were in high school. I use a sentence diagram. I put the verbs on one side, or the predicate. I put the subject on the other side, which is known as the topic of the sentence, who the topic is meant for. So, to be zealous is the first part of the sentence, right? This part of the sentence, so said Yahweh Sabaoth, that's, you don't even have to translate it. It's perfect. King James says, thus saith Yahweh Sabaoth, and the Chabad Bible says, so said Yahweh Sabaoth, but it's the same thing, so you don't have to worry about translating it. To put it in the best form you like. But the part you have to translate is, I am zealous for Zion with great jealousy and great fury am zealous, okay? Now you have to put that together with your sentence diagram. So the verb, Hebrew has a problem that English people don't understand. In Hebrew, run-on sentences are normal. In English, it is not normal for us to use run-on sentences. If you read modern newspapers, you'll see the journalist doesn't know how to put commas, periods, or any kind of punctuation in, and they could have a long paragraph, which is 300 words, and there's not one comma in the thing because they believe in using run-on sentences. Hebrew is a natural language with run-on sentences. English is not. So you have to break this down into different sentences. I am zealous for Zion with magnificent zeal. That's one sentence right there. So now you do the sentence diagram that you did in high school, verb on one side, predicate on the other side, and then connect all the words that are connected to the verb, which would be adverbs, right? Direct objects, and then of course you have to add in the word's not coming to my head right now. But then on the other side, you do the nouns or the predicate with the adjectives that describe it. Okay, you do the sentence diagram, and you can figure out exactly what the sentence is supposed to say. When you finally figure out what the sentence is supposed to say, based on the diagrams, based on the definitions, I can look in my Hebrew grammar books to see if there's any special things I need. Okay, the grammar books for Mansour. These grammar books right here, which are excellent. I look in those books, see what grammar techniques I need, and because there are a lot of times where sentences are very difficult to understand. And then you go and put down the final form. So the final form of that sentence, which was originally verse 2, says, "So said Yahweh Siba'o, the master of the army. I am jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and with great fury I am jealous for her." So the final translation of that sentence, based on the grammar the books that I have, and this is a bad example because I already know the grammar on this sentence is very easy to accommodate. So said, this is the final form of that particular sentence. Yahweh Siba'o said, "I am zealous for Zion with magnificent zealousness and with magnificent fury. I am zealous for her." Okay? The word great translated as magnificent, but here's the finer definition: with respect to increased size, power, or authority. That's the definition of the word great. Magnificent with respect to increased size, power, or authority. So now I know what that sentence means. There are, like I said, there are very difficult sentences in Hebrew sometimes because they're run on. And the English translators are always the ones that were good, know what words to put together. There are bad English translations where they put the words next to each other in the wrong order. And they change the Hebrew sentence around so they can make it say something. So what I like to do, like in verse 3 here, you see I make it into an outline. Let's see what originally verse 3 was in the text. Verse 3 said, "So said Yahweh, I will return to Zion, and I will dwell in the middle of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mount of Yahweh Siba'o shall be called the holy mountain." That's one sentence. That should be at least 3 sentences. So what I do is I make it easy to understand and easy to read. Here's the translation that I get. Notice how I made an outline form, because it makes it easier to understand. So here's the final form of that sentence, using all the tools I just mentioned to find the key words and their definitions. I substituted the keywords by definition into the original text. I went through the grammar books and checked all the grammar, and I made sentence structures or sentence diagrams with each sentence. Now here's the final form of verse 3. Yahweh said, "I will turn back to Zion, and I will dwell in the middle of Jerusalem." And I put a period right there, because that's the end of the first sentence. Again, remember, Hebrew has run-on sentences. English does not, unless you're a bad writer with the newspaper. Okay, second sentence, Jerusalem shall be called, and I made an outline. You see the colon there? I made an outline. Jerusalem shall be called, A, the city of truth, B, the mountain of Yahweh Siba'o, and C, the set-apart mountain. That makes it easier to understand, doesn't it? So I've turned one long run-on sentence into one sentence with an outline, which makes it easy to understand. And the nice thing about this is anyone that wants to read this, anyone that might be interested, again, here is the actual text, and anyone that might be interested can look up on the interlinear scripture analyzer or the Hebrew text or the Strong's Concordance and verify everything that I have, everything that I've written. It's very easily verifiable. I believe in verifying things. I believe in verification. Before I say something, I like to verify it. So that is what I've done with all these texts. And I've been doing this since 1998, like I said, 2008, 2018. We're talking 25 years almost, okay? I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And when I'm done with each chapter that I translate, I have friends that are experts in Hebrew. And what I do is I give them my text, I give them all my information, and I let them proofread it. Because now I have 2 or 3 people helping me to verify my information. Sometimes some of the translated words do not apply anymore, even though that's translated accurately. So we have to come up with the word that is the best translation of that word for the 21st century. Okay? So anyway, that's what I do on the Sabbath. It's a project of love, and it is something that I've been doing, like I said, since 1998. I'm extremely good at this, and I have friends that are just as good with respect to their proofreading. And we all come together and we come up with the exact most correct version of the text that we can possibly do. And hopefully we're right. It's a love affair we have with this study. So anyway, I'm sharing this with you. This is what I do on most every Sabbath on the 7th day of the week. Okay, thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you like what I've done. Share this with your friends if you like it. Hit like and subscribe, and maybe ask me some questions in the comments, or ask me to translate a passage for you, your favorite passage. I'm not going to charge you anything, and you'll get the most accurate passage translation you can possibly get. I don't care. Of course, it has to be in the Tanakh or the Old Testament. I don't have these tools for the Greek in the New Testament, so all I can translate is the Tanakh, the Old Testament. So if you have a favorite verse that's in the Tanakh, or also known as the Old Testament, you ask me which verse to translate for you, and I will give you the exact translation for that verse. It might take a couple days. This whole process that I just showed you for one chapter takes about 23 hours for one chapter. And that includes from soup to nuts, okay? So it's a lot of work, and I don't mind doing it. And if I continue doing this, I might have the scriptures done in 500 years. I'll do this all day until my eyes go blurry and I can't see anymore. Then I got to take a break. And I got to take a nap or something like that because my eyes start to hurt. Anyway, let me know if you want me to translate a verse for you. I'd be more than happy to. And you will be able to verify it, and you'll be able to see how accurate it is. Thank you very much. Again, peace.